Hi everybody, we're here at SIGGRAPH 2024 and I am here with Christy from the Foundry. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for taking some time with me here. So you might not know, but my background was in visual effects and feature films, and I got my start working with Nuke at Digital Domain. And so Foundry, Nuke, and Modo, and all these tools that you've been developing are near and dear to my heart. So what is really new in here, and what are you showing off here at SIGGRAPH this year?
Oh, well, that's fantastic that you have that background in VFX, DD, right, home of Nuke. So here at SIGGRAPH this year, we're showing all the latest updates within the products and starting to preview what's coming next. So on the Nuke front, well, really two main streams that we're talking about. So the first one is machine learning, right? Definitely that's the theme of SIGGRAPH 2024. But for us, it's really the CopyCat framework within Nuke, which has been around for a couple of years now, but continuing to iterate on it. And what CopyCat lets you do is train your own models within Nuke, really using limited amount of data, so the data just within that shot generally, to train a bespoke tool that works on a shot or sequence. It's a really versatile tool that you can use for any really image-to-image task. So garbage matting is the natural kind of thought, but of course things like painting, color correction, exposure correction, removing blur, all kinds of different tasks, and it's really been incredible to see the journey for CopyCat over time, like since we launched it in Nuke 13, I think. But it's been hugely popular, adopted by a lot of different studios, used in production in really incredible ways, and of course still working on it. The latest release of Nuke 15.1, saw some really great improvements around speed. So when we first launched it, doing a kind of garbage matting task, it might take in an hour to train, your model. Now you can do that in about a minute. It's really incredible how fast it's gotten and how really that the underlying technology has evolved. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me with CopyCat is it's not a model that bases itself on like copying information off the internet, scraping anything from anybody else. It's really something an individual artist can train as almost a personal assistant with their work, with their working style, and make themselves more productive, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the really important things about it. So for us, at Foundry, we're thinking about using machine learning. It was all about how can we accelerate artists, how can we make tools that are really useful and usable in production, which does mean responsible data, not needing to access the cloud, and being artist friendly. There's a learning curve to CopyCat, right? Machine learning is a different technology, but I think really when I think about it, it's not so different than building plugins, right, in the way that people have always done, like with Nuke and other platforms. And it's one more way to build tools, and it lets you use machine learning to make those bespoke tools that you're going to use for that show. Obviously, nothing comes back to us; it's yours. You build that model, you can use it how you want to, and it's I think, really empowering way to think about machine learning.
And then it becomes super accessible because you don't have to learn how big coding libraries or anything. I mean, it's just working within the Nuke artist interface anyway. So it just essentially gives them direct access to the power of machine learning without having to learn a whole new set of tools.
Yeah, exactly. It's there. It's a very obviously machine learning language what you're doing, but it is accessible to you. It's simplified to be just for this task. You don't need to understand how to run really complicated cloud setups. There's none of that, right? You can just work with it simply, which I actually think is really powerful from a kind of learning perspective. I think we see artists tend to default towards the kind of GPT, like text-based prompts, and you type in and some magic happens, right? But I think for artists and in the future, right, building their skills, really understanding this technology, understanding the fundamentals of machine learning is really going to help them know how to use these tools, right, and how to really understand what they're doing, when they work, when they don't. And so I think CopyCat is really powerful from that sense too, right? It's machine learning in a way that's accessible, but also helps you learn the fundamentals so that you really know what the systems are doing, and you can make creative choices smartly, right, in using it.
And then another big piece of the whole Foundry ethos is interoperability and being able to work with other tools. And I noticed NVIDIA has a big USD day going on today, and I know Foundry's been doing a lot with USD as well. What's going on there?
Yeah, so USD is obviously really big for us too. It's been, I think, years again along our USD journey, and I think really the whole industry has embraced USD, right, as an interoperability format, and I think it's more in a format, right, scene description, and I think it's a really powerful tool for supporting like how we want to blur boundaries between departments, or the ability to work at a pipelines aren't just a straight line anymore. They have lots of loops. You're always going back and forth between departments and collaborating, and USD is a great enabler of that. And so for us, having a really robust USD workflow within our tools is really important. So really, all our tools are just in USD, and Hydra, of course, is the viewport component of that. But really this year we're working with Nuke and Katana in both implementing native USD-based workflows. So in Nuke, right, it's the brand new 3D system we launched last year, which we continue to iterate and develop, but that's all native USD, but exposed in a way that's, again, accessible for compositors and the work compositors are doing. And then in Katana, right, also moving towards native USD, but in that case, it's managing really complex scenes and really complex lighting tasks. But what I think is really cool is that the new work that's coming into Nuke and Katana is both built on the same architecture, so it's one shared USD architecture, which means from a pipeline perspective, you're only needing to implement one, right? And we support bring your own USD, and it's, I think, exciting from not only the efficiency gains you get from using USD in general, but simplifying the pipeline and building these stronger connections that make it easier to move back and forth between lighting and comp.
Yeah, and so for an old fogey like me, that still like here's USD, it's like hearing inconceivable over and over. I'm not sure that word means what I think it means. So if I'm accustomed to like FBX and OBJs, and that being the core of the pipeline. So again, I've been around. It's been too long. What do you use? What's the main advantage? How are studios leveraging production pipelines, leveraging USD? How does it make things better?
Yeah, so this one, I'm going to do my best here because I'm a little bit rusty on this answer. I'll do my best. But yeah, so USD is, you think things like FBX, OBJs, Alembics, right? Like they are geometry formats, right? And so they describe geometry. And USD supports that, right? Like within the scene description, but it's describing the whole scene. And the nice thing about USD is it also captures versions. And so you can track changes, you can follow really the whole process that's happened, like to that scene over time through multiple stages of production, multiple departments. And so it makes it really, not entirely easy, but viable, right, to go back and forth between versions and really manage that kind of non-linear flow because it's one scene description for your entire project.
So really, and essentially what we're doing with USD is it's creating an entire, almost a database, a platform on itself in order to facilitate multi-artist production pipelines, and it's built into the structure.
Yeah, it's the description, right, of the entire project that you're working on and all the changes that happen along the way. So that becomes a really powerful tool. It's more than moving many little files, right? It helps you kind of know the state of everything and all the states that the project has passed through.
Christy, thank you so much for taking all this time with me. I really appreciate it. Have a great conference, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for you guys next year.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Until next time, have fun.